Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Mackenzie Sullivan. I run track at the University of Pittsburgh and I am a 400 hurdler. Today's video is going to be a part 2 of a video I made last summer called Hurdling for Beginners. If you haven't already checked out that video, I recommend watching that one first and then coming back. You guys love that video, so I thought I'd just keep going with the hurdle series on my channel. What today's video is going to be about is just expanding off of some of the basic ideas I talked about in that video and also adding a couple more tips in. If there's anything hurdle specific that you want to see, let me know in the comments. But for today's video, it's just going to be a part 2 of hurdle basics, so let's get into it. So my first tip is to break up the basics. What does that mean? In my first video, you probably remember me explaining the 2 main movements of hurdles. You have your lead leg, which is the leg that goes over the hurdle first, and then you have the trail leg, the one that follows. I feel like when people are first learning hurdles, they completely skip over breaking up the action of hurdling and immediately try and hop over this. That's not exactly what you want to do. If you watch a lot of my videos, you've probably seen my track meet vlogs where you see me doing hurdle drills. In those drills, I'll break things up by focusing on my lead leg in some drills and my trail leg in other drills. Doing this allows me to focus on specific aspects of hurdling and not the big picture. And that's really important when you're first starting out, because just going over this a million times how you think you're supposed to hurdle isn't going to do anything for you. It's important to focus on the trail leg, get that down, move on, focus on the lead leg, then bring it all together. So by drilling, going over just the side of the hurdle with your lead leg and just the side of the hurdle with your trail leg, you're going to make the whole movement come together easier for you. In part 1, I also talked about how important it is to have a forward tack when you're hurdling. But I didn't really explain in depth what that means for your body position when you're hurdling. I explained how you want to run through the hurdle, not jump over or hop over the hurdle. But how do you do that? One of the most important things that separates a hop from a run when you're hurdling is that lean into the hurdle. If you're coming into the hurdle straight on and you do not change the angle of your body, then the only way you can go, technically, is up if you're just keeping your body like this. When you're moving into this hurdle, you want to position your chest forward, and that helps lower your body, keeping you lower over the hurdle and making it more of a run than a hop. So in that attack into the hurdle, you want to focus on leaning your chest forward and also using your arms to help a forward motion rather than an upward motion. As you're hurdling, it's important to remember to keep your center of balance. You want to keep everything aligned. If you're hurdling like this and you don't have your chest forward, you're not aligned. By bringing your chest forward, everything's more centered and you're in line as you're hurdling. And if you do that into the hurdle, that will translate as you come off of the hurdle. You might be familiar with the action of coming off the hurdle and you rock backwards, and it's very uncomfortable, very frustrating. It kills your momentum. You don't want that. So with that chest leaning forward, keeping everything in your center, you want to keep that motion into the hurdle, over top of the hurdle, and coming off of the hurdle. And that will eliminate that rock backwards and keep everything moving forward. An important thing with hurdles is eliminating air time. You want to be actually hurdling over the hurdle for as little amount of time as possible. And something that helps with that is to remember to get your lead leg down. If you have that in your mind as you're going over the hurdle, lead leg down, that eliminates some of that air time because you're not floating over the hurdle as much. It's more of an intentional action. I'm over and I'm down. In the first video, I mentioned that the trail leg was the leader of motion. Despite your lead leg going first, the trail leg really is the main component of hurdling. So if you want to be a quicker hurdler, you have to have a quick trail leg. The second you're getting off the ground, you want to already have that trail leg in motion, wrapping around so that you're on the ground quicker. And in order to do that, you have to quicken your trail leg and strengthen your hip flexors so that it's able to have that quick motion over the top of the hurdles. Let me know if you want to see a video on ways you can strengthen your hip flexors to help with that. But there's also a drill you can do with the hurdles to help get that motion with your trail leg correct and fast. So in this drill that I'm about to show you, you have one hurdle and the settings on the hurdle are going to be one side higher than the other, and then another hurdle to the side. You're going to use that to keep yourself balanced, and you're going to put your trail leg on the back of that hurdle and follow that incline of the hurdle with your foot all the way up and shoot it around. This mimics a correct position of your trail leg when you're hurdling. With that trail leg, make sure you finish it. A mistake a lot of hurdlers will make is bringing that trail leg around and bringing it to the ground prematurely. You want to make sure as your trail leg's coming around, you don't bring it down until it's in this position, in a running position. That allows for the correct foot strike and makes it more like a run. If you have your trail leg and you try and cut it before you're in that position, that will shorten your stride length, and that can make it very difficult in the 100 hurdles, for example, especially if you're a shorter hurdler and you need to take advantage of your full stride length. You want to make sure you bring that trail leg around so that you take advantage of that. And the last tip I have is to make sure you utilize your arms in between the hurdles. First video I talked about the importance of your arms as you're hurdling, and of course you want to make sure those are contained and an intentional movement as you're hurdling, but your arms are just as important when you come off of the hurdle in between. Just like your arms are such a key part of just running in general, when you're in a hurdle race, make sure you're moving your arms, especially something my coach always reminds me in the 100 hurdles is to keep your arms moving, because your arms dictate what your legs do. And if your arms are powerfully and intentionally moving in between the hurdles, it's gonna make coming up to the next hurdle that much easier. It's all just gonna come together very well. So just make sure that you are always conscious of what your arms are doing, be intentional with that movement, and know that that is just as important as your legs are as you're running. All right, so that's all I had for this video today, part 2 for hurdle beginners. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and let me know if there's any hurdle questions you have down in the comments, and also any hurdle video suggestions that you want to see. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.